Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wxcenter Live. That's what we're going to be calling these continuous segments that I have popping out. We're actually going to go ahead and nix our full feature segment today that I usually drop at 6 p.m. because there's honestly so much to talk about. We're just going to jump into a 5 p.m. update, talk what's going on with Hurricane Tammy, as well as a number of different areas that I'm watching out there in the tropics right now, because it looks like after Tammy, things can remain in a slightly elevated or enhanced state with what I'm seeing in our long-range model platform right now. Or I should say model data, excuse me. Avril, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and let some folks get on in here. I want to cut the stream at an hour, ladies and gentlemen. That's for sure. This time I do want us to go ahead and make a hasty retreat at about 60 minutes because later tonight, if things are still ongoing, I may try to pop in for one more live stream tonight to give you guys an update. As people are tuning in, if you look, we're looking at the Martinique radar right now, and we're seeing some pretty positive outcomes with Hurricane Tammy currently. It looks like she completely missed Guadeloupe, thankfully. Missed them well off to the east. It looks like you guys barely saw any kind of precip with it. That one small island just to the eastern island of Guadeloupe definitely saw an impact with that, though. I hope everyone's okay out there. It looks like the very outer western portion of the eyewall went right over top that island. I forget the name of it. Somebody had let me know what it was not too long ago. Samuel Reed, welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. So, it looks like what we were talking about on our earlier live stream is thankfully coming to fruition. It's coming up out of the north, or it's going to the north, and it's favoring more of a northward track. Missed Guadeloupe altogether, and Antigua, you guys are getting close. You guys are getting close. It looks like it may just miss you guys to the east as well. Still watching for Barbuda. Barbuda is going to be a very close call. Barbuda, it's on track to barely miss you guys, but if there's even so much as a hair's worth of a westward jog at the last second, that's going to put you guys in some very significant environment with this storm. But right now, we're getting very close. Within the next hour, we may be able to call it good for Antigua. It looks like Antigua might be dodging the full extent of this storm as well. Welcome in, folks. Ivan watching from Antigua, AKK Wadadli. No rain in All Saints, center of the island. Very good. That's good stuff, Ivan. I'm looking at the radar right now. I'm looking at it both here and on windy.com. One of my other viewers, Ethan, pointed out that we can also pull up our radar on Windy, and you can see that we definitely have the storm transitioning just to the east of everybody. Thankfully, it missed all of the islands in through here. There we go, La Desirade. It went right over top this island right here, unfortunately. This area definitely took a pretty hard blow. I'm not sure if we have anyone tuning in from that location right now, but thankfully, Guadeloupe, and just to the south of that area as well, Marie Gallant missed that storm, and it went off to the east of their location. So we've honestly been seeing some very positive trends with where that center of circulation is tracking. And even looking at here at the windy radar, here's Antigua. Here's our center still propagating off almost in a due north fashion at this point. I'll go ahead and draw circles to indicate where the strongest area in that eyewall really is according to radar. And you could see we are off at about maybe 30 to 50 miles to the east of Antigua out there, and you guys are dodging a lot of the significant rainfall. Look at that core convection with the eye. It's definitely gotten a little bit more intense, but thankfully, because this is an east side loaded storm, Guadeloupe, and it looks like even Montserrat is definitely going to miss a lot of the activity. Antigua, you're getting very close. We're like right on that threshold of missing this storm altogether. I'm not saying you're not going to see anything from it, but we're so close to having that core and that eye wall moving north of your location to where you can put the main event behind you, which is great news, excellent news. This is why I wanted to pop back in and talk tropics with you guys earlier in the day as opposed to later this evening. Willow, are you trying to get out? You always do this. Why are you trying to get out every time I try to go on a live stream? Dark Earth, welcome back, dear. Thank you for joining us. We have about 82 viewers in. We'll give it a couple more minutes and let people start popping in here. Miss Leah, thank you for joining. Good to see you. Good afternoon, everybody. I know for those of you just tuning in, this is a little early. It's a little early. We're not doing our evening tropics talk just yet. Tonight, if I still continue to see things ongoing, we'll pop in for one last short live stream later this evening. Time to be determined. I know this was kind of off the cuff, but I'll tell you now, I mean, even though we're only going to cap this off at about an hour, there is a lot that I really want to discuss. There's definitely a lot I want to discuss and some new areas that really need to start paying attention out there. And to include you guys, unfortunately, in the Lesser Antilles, there's things that I'm not liking that I'm seeing that have been trending both in our ensembles and our operational models, and we're going to talk about all that. It's kind of why I'm doing an extra live, if you will, as opposed to a full feature segment. Laria Lewis, Antigua, no rain in my area either, but it's raining in St. John's on the northern side of the island. That makes sense. I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like there's very weak banding associated with the low trying to sneak its way into the northeast side of the island, like you're saying. So that makes a lot of sense. There's some very weak shower activity on the outer western periphery of that center. But, folks, if you're out there watching, I know I had a lot of Antigua viewers earlier. That eye is definitely off to your east, so we're getting very, very close to putting the worst of this system behind you guys. We still may have to do battle with some tropical storm-like conditions with all the back-end feeder banding activity that you can see just off to the right. Actually, you know what? Instead of highlighting it, I'll just go ahead and zoom out for you guys. This is what we're seeing. So Barbados was definitely getting the hammer brought down on them earlier. That is for certain. A lot of those training thunderstorms have pulled to the north, and I have somebody out there who had mentioned that they have discontinued the flood warning, thankfully, so it looks like those conditions are no longer going to persist. Right now, it looks like St. Vincent, the Grenadines potentially, St. Lucia into Martinique, and now Dominica are finally starting to see those feeder bands work their way through. So you guys are going to see on and off shower activity and the potential for some low-end tropical storm conditions as these bands work their way through. But here's the center. The center is looking fairly organized. I'm not going to lie to you guys. You can see all these higher reflectivity values wrapping around that eye wall. That is the core of the storm. That is that right front dirty side of the storm that brings most of the hellacious weather with this hurricane. And if you trace that out, luckily it is all on the eastern side. So Antigua, even as it stands right now, I don't believe you guys are really seeing too much at all. If I have anybody, as a matter of fact, Lario, can you please chime in? Are you seeing anything in the way of significant winds, any tropical depression or tropical storm-like conditions? I know you mentioned that there's no rain. There's a little bit of rain working its way into the northern pieces of the island right now, but anything else crazy? Or anybody out there who can chime in and kind of verify that what we're seeing on radar is accurate? Because from what I'm seeing right now and why I'm trying to lead off this live stream with good news is Antigua missed a direct hit. We're getting so close now to being able to put that eye behind you guys, and it's looking almost slim to no chance at this point that you guys are going to see a direct landfall, which is great news. Barbuda is next. Barbuda is going to be the one that needs to still continue to watch because it's going to be a very close call, If we come back to this radar, the faster moving loop right here, I'll refresh again. Steadroy, weather is good in Antigua. Captain Knight's heroic class is nothing at all. Just overcast here in the north of Antigua. Very good. Nothing significant in Antigua. Very good. Thank you, guys. All right, good. So we have verification that nothing really hefty is going on out there. So what we're going to do is do a little bit of extrapolation again. We're going to track this forward. So here's the center of the storm, still moving up. And there it is right there. So it's definitely going to miss Antigua, thankfully. You might get grazed by some of the very, very outer shell of that center. Now, next up is going to be Barbuda. Barbuda is going to need to really hold your breath. So if I have viewers in Barbuda right now, I don't want to sound crude or anything, but what I used to like to say back in the day is we got to clinch and hold our breath because it's going to be close. Antigua looks like you are just about there. Within the next hour or two, you can safely say we've missed the eye of Hurricane Tammy. Barbuda, if it continues to track like it is, you guys should miss it too. It's going to depend very heavily on if it decides all of a sudden it's going to jog west, because even a very subtle shift, we're talking this much of a shift to the west, that could mean everything. That could change the whole game. No rain or winds on the western side of Antigua. Very good. Hello, everyone. Tia, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you in here. Kayla Roberts, just overcast. Hardly any wind or rain in the east. Excellent. Good. Or Keika, excuse me. Ivan Watley, my corner store is still open. I love it. Doing business. That's just like the old phrase out here in Florida. If Waffle House is still open, you know the weather ain't that bad. So good stuff. We're still seeing the positive trends out of this, guys, and that's why I wanted to jump in as well, because I know we still have a lot of hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings out there. Luckily, unfortunately, Barbados has seen some pretty steady rainfall accumulation because of the backside of those storms training overhead. You can kind of see it at the base of this radar imagery. And we also had a lot of instances of rainfall in Trinidad, Tobago, and those rain bands are starting to trend to the north now, which is why we're starting to see some of the Leeward Islands get hit by them as well. You move over to the true color satellite imagery, we're going to lose the sun very soon. But you can see we still have a very pronounced hurricane. It's small, but it's a very pronounced center. It's right over here. It's right there. Moving well to the east of Antigua. And even looking at this satellite image, it looks like it could very well miss Barbuda. And then, honestly, we're on cruise control at this point out there in St. Bartholomew, St. Kitts and Nevis. We're on cruise control. St. Martin, again, cruise control. U.S. British Virgin Islands, cruise control. Puerto Rico, we're seeing some pop-off convection, not really associated with Hurricane Tammy. We're more so just seeing a little bit of influx of moisture from the west. You could see it flaring up over Dominican Republic. A lot of those what are called orographically induced storms, which basically means that you have your moisture hitting the mountains and shooting up and creating thunderstorms in the blink of an eye. Where is the wind blowing from? X-Man Jr., where are you located? Where's the wind blowing from? I can tell you right now, where are you located? Because a lot of the islands are honestly seeing either it from out of the north or out of the west. Since the center is east of you, you either have prevailing northerly winds or prevailing westerly winds right now on the western side of the storm. Hello from Antigua. We have winds now, but I'm still on the front porch. It's bearable for now. Yeah, beautifully aged. Try not to sweat too much. Okay, we're looking at radar right now, and Antigua is very, very close to being in the clear. Very close. We're neck and neck with this storm right now. As a matter of fact, it's running just to the east of your location. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Here is Antigua. Here is Barbuda. And there's our center of circulation. So it's moving. It's actually just about due east of your location right now. So yeah, X-Man Jr., your winds should be out of the north and the west right now. Willow, are you trying to get out again? 1 second, guys. Do this when I'm in a live stream. If you're going to go, then go. Always do this now. All right, so how is it for Anguilla? I would imagine, honestly, at this point, the only area I'm really concerned about is Barbuda. Montserrat, Teresita, that's my grandmother's name. Montserrat is also on cruise control right now. So if you are in Antigua and further to the west of that island, we're talking Montserrat, we're talking St. Kitts and Nevis, we're talking St. Martin, St. Bartholomew, St. Croix, even into the Virgin Islands. The further west you go from Antigua, the better. Right now, we're seeing it track to the north and east of your location. So everybody to the west of Antigua, you're on cruise control right now. No, D-squared Dixon, no. The eye is to your east. I have it pulled up on radar right here if you guys take a look. The eye is to your east, and you are just about there in the clear in terms of seeing the worst that this storm has to offer. Now, I can't guarantee you're not going to see anything from it, but the way it stands right now, a lot of the banding is off to your east, and that eye is going to pass off to your east as well. So fantastic news, because truthfully, Antigua and Barbuda were the ones I was a lot more concerned about earlier, but it looks like it's still favoring that 340, 350-degree track. You can see it moving in right here. I'll draw a little line so you guys can get a better representation of it. Here's our center right there, tracking. Still moving. It's still moving in that general direction. So if it decides it wants to wobble to the west at the last second, then Barbuda, you definitely want to keep an eye out. St. Kitts and Nevis, not right now. No, Lucy, not right now. At least in terms of taking a direct landfall or a direct hit from this hurricane, it doesn't look like it. Jennifer David, keep safe. Trinidad, praying for you all. Yes, Trinidad, Tobago, they definitely saw some pretty hellacious thunderstorm activity earlier today. We'll switch back to the wide view on windy.com so we can get a full-fledged view of everything. So you can see that we still have some lingering activity way down to the south. Grenada. Let me see. Let me get my bearings. So here's Guadeloupe. There is... I always forget the name of that island. That's Marie Gallant. There goes Dominica. So Dominica has some pretty potent feeder banding going through that area right now. If I have my viewers watching from Dominica, you have thunderstorms bearing down on you right now. And then in Martinique, we just had some thunderstorms moving through. It looks like just upstream to your southwest. There may be an additional band getting ready to form up. St. Lucia has some pretty powerful thunderstorms getting ready to roll through there right now. Same thing with St. Vincent. St. Vincent has has some thunderstorms just off to the northern periphery of that island as well. Down south, Trinidad and Tobago, some residual leftover moisture, but nothing too serious right now. And it looks like, it makes a lot of sense that they discontinued that flood warning for Barbados because there's nothing immediately upstream of you guys as well. Watching all the windward islands right now, and you guys are looking pretty good down there. We could definitely see some significant activity in this band headed right into St. Lucia right now, but honestly, that's the only thing in the immediate horizon for St. Lucia. Would this be the time we would get the worst of it in Antigua, or can it still happen? Justin, no. It would be happening now. If that center was further to the west, you guys would be in the midst of it right now. So we can slowly but surely start to ease up. Ease up. Nerd Guru, to my people in the islands, don't focus on the center. Early impacts are felt outside of. Yes, absolutely. But the reason I want to focus more so on the center is because that's where all of our hurricane force winds and that eyewall core convection is going to be. And that was what I was most afraid of seeing out there in Antigua and Barbuda. And that eyewall is well to the east of Antigua. So you guys are going to miss the strongest stuff with this storm. What you guys are going to have to prepare for and just keep an eye out for are all these little feeder bands that I'm outlining right here on this radar map. All these bands are wrapping around the backside of this system, and you could potentially see even some waterspout activity with it because this is where most of your rotating thunderstorms are going to be in a tropical cyclone. But the harshest winds, the strongest stuff. No, yeah, you're absolutely right, though, Nerd Guru. You're absolutely right. Like, I'm not taking away from your statement. I definitely agree. The one positive with this storm is it's so east side loaded that the center and further to the east is where all your main impacts are going to be. And because the center, being where it is to the east of a lot of our major island nations out there, we're not seeing a whole lot of major impacts right now. Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia are definitely under the gun for some feeder band activity. In fact, I can see that there's some pretty frequent lightning strikes just to the south, or I should say the west-southwest of Martinique right now. Of Martinique and Dominica together. You have a lot of lightning going off to your west. Guadeloupe is looking pretty good. Nothing crazy going on out there. Have a little bit of pop-off thunderstorm activity in Puerto Rico, but that's not associated with Tammy. Those are daytime things. Those are daytime thunderstorms firing over the mountainous terrain out there. So if I have anyone watching from Puerto Rico, you guys are doing okay. That's not Tammy out there. That's just your regular old orographic afternoon thunderstorms. U.S. and British Virgin Islands are looking good. I saw someone ask about St. Martin. St. Martin's looking pretty good. The strong energy on the east side of the system is keeping her due east, it seems like. Yeah, kind of, sort of. David Schlotthauer, welcome in. Are we ever going to talk anymore? Yeah, David, of course we are. I just wanted to pop in here real quick because I still have a lot going on in the background here at home. That's why we're back in here doing a quick update. Zarko Rockera, I agree. Yes, definitely. Thank you, God, for looking over Antigua. Absolutely. Yes, Avril, I agree. Because you guys, we can call it superb forecasting. We can call it excellent model prediction. But at the end of the day, I definitely put it in God's hands in this case. Because, you're so dangerously close to that center. And so many little variables just so happen to play out to where you guys are dodging the bullet. Neoplays, we're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. We're only 18 minutes into the stream. We still have about 40 minutes to go. We're going to talk tropics here in a second, though, so that's what we need to watch out for. What about St. Kitts? St. Kitts and Nevis, you guys are on cruise control out there, Tammy. Ironically. Hi, Tammy. Chatting with us. Hurricane Tammy is in the chat. No, I'm just kidding, Tammy. I apologize. I'm just messing around. But no, Tammy, St. Kitts, Nevis, you guys are on cruise control. We're watching where the center is tracking, and right now the center is definitely going to miss you to the east, so you're not going to see all that eyewall convection. So I don't really see hurricane conditions affecting your location. I really don't. The possibility of seeing some tropical storm-like conditions with those feeder bands coming up from the south, that could be, that's possible. So Antigua hopefully missing the bad stuff, but what about tropical storm conditions? That's what I was just getting into, Captain Knight. So with these bands coming up from the south, I'll switch back to windy. All in through here, we have one coming around through here, a very weak one just to the north of Guadeloupe. We have another one back behind it over Martinique. We have another one moving through St. Vincent and then St. Lucia right about now with lots of good lightning strikes out there. In these feeder bands, we can definitely see some tropical storm-like conditions. And I think the reason that Barbados flooded as bad as it did is because a lot of this stuff out here to the east was over top of them for an extended period of time. Because when you think about it, with all that moisture and as broad as it is, since this storm has just been moving north, that blob has been doing nothing but propagating to the north as well. So that's why they're being inundated, and thankfully they finally saw a break a little while ago. Did you go over St. Martin? Yes. You guys are on cruise control out there. The only one, David Brown, thank you for asking, the only one I'm watching for is going to be Barbuda. Barbuda is the one that we have to monitor because you guys are going to be close. I'm not saying there's going to be a landfall. I'm not saying you guys are definitely going to or definitely not going to. We are going to be hanging on by the skin of our teeth in this case because we just dodged the bullets in Guadeloupe. We dodged the bullet in Antigua. The center is almost to the north, guys. So, I mean, unless this thing pulls a sudden, outlandish, boom, I'm going backwards all of a sudden, you guys are almost in the clear in terms of seeing the worst of Hurricane Tammy. We'll get a closer look right now. We'll zoom in on those islands specifically. So here we are. Let's see. So here is Barbuda. I'm going to highlight that in yellow, and I'm going to use green for all of our other islands. Here is Antigua, okay? Here is Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis. We have Guadeloupe, Desirade. I always forget the name of that island. Marie Gallant. All you guys highlighted in green have missed the storm center, thankfully. Here is the center of circulation of Hurricane Tammy. Let me wait for it to pause right there. And there is your eyewall core convection. It's starting to try to wrap around the western side. I still don't think you're going to get a whole lot of action in Antigua unless this thing suddenly bumps due west and breaks all continuity. It's going to be Barbuda. As this thing continues to track this way like it is, we're going to be too close for comfort. If this thing wobbles even just like, a chin hair to the west, you guys are going to see really bad impacts. Really bad impacts. Mayaguez, Puerto Rico. Yes, boss lady mama. Yeah, Mayaguez. All of Puerto Rico is good to go. They're seeing their traditional daytime thunderstorms right now. Nothing really associated with Hurricane Tammy. St. Eustatius, I'm pretty certain you guys are doing okay too. Let me double check. Let me go ahead and I'm going to pull up a more high-res map. Let's see. Where are we at? St. Eustatius and Saba. Oh, then yeah, if I'm looking at this correctly, you guys are off to the west. Yeah, you guys are on cruise control as well. You guys are definitely on cruise control as well. Let me just double check. I want to get closer with my map on the right-hand side here just to make sure. So we're zooming out. St. Kitts and Nevis. Anguilla is looking pretty good. Yeah, no. So let me see, where are you? Did I lose your message? Brenda, St. Eustatius, you guys are looking good out there. You guys are looking good. IDS Studios, British Virgin Islands, looking good. Barbuda seems to always get the worst of it, and being in Antigua, I pray it misses them. I agree. We're definitely going to have to pray and blow on that center of circulation. It's been working so far. We just have to keep monitoring. We're almost there. We're almost past the worst of the storm, okay? Now, please keep in mind, as you guys have already pointed out to, just because we're missing the center doesn't mean we're not going to see impacts. Well behind the backside of this storm, there is still the potential for flooding. We've seen it already in some of our windward island nations. There is still a potential for some high elevated winds in these feeder bands. There is still the potential for a little bit of coastal flooding because of I wouldn't say the surge, but the swell around the wind field of Tammy. So we're not entirely out of the woods, but in terms of areas that are likely to see hurricane conditions, we're getting greener and greener across the board. Will Dominica get tropical storm conditions? In terms of consistent tropical storm conditions, Joseph, at this time, I do not believe so. That center is so far to your north, and that wind field being very north and east side loaded is just going to continue. Further and further away. It's 4:54. Let's go ahead. This is what I wanted to do the video on. Let's go ahead and see if we have a new National Hurricane Center update, new track. Let's see, so there it is, 5 p.m., still an 85-mile-an-hour hurricane. All right, let's zoom on in. Let's go high-res map, and let's zoom in. Let's see what they're thinking. See, once again, so it does have the track missing Antigua now, but they're still calling, this is rough. they still have the center calling for a landfall in Barbuda. Now, if you guys remember, for those of you who tuned in for this morning's live stream, they had landfall projected for Guadeloupe down here, and we missed it. So, Barbados, who's asking that? Kathy Ann? No, not right now. Barbados is good. Barbados is looking okay. You guys are getting a break. You guys are definitely in a break right now. You can take a breath of relief. Nothing on the immediate horizon for you guys down there in Barbados. Definitely okay. How close are we? You went live 25 minutes ago. Didn't even see. Yeah, I'm sorry. I definitely went against the grain on this one. There's just so much more I want to talk about. We're going to fixate on Tammy for about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to talk the rest of the tropics because there's other areas. Lucia, Bermuda, you're one of them. We're going to talk about Bermuda here in a moment. We're also, believe it or not, going to talk about the rest of the Caribbean, and believe it or not, the Southeast United States. I'm going to start raising awareness. We're not starting preps. We're not starting alarms. We're not hyping, but I'm just letting you know, based on what we've been seeing the last 48 to 72 hours and today's trends on our deterministic models and the ensembles, it's time to start watching a little bit. And I'm opening up the AOR just a little bit. Can you tell me if more... Oh, I already read that. Sorry. Darkside Gaming, WTH. Justin, I must point out that you have been providing the best live coverage of these systems far better than anyone here in Antigua. Justin, I'm very glad. That's why I was very adamant about trying to do as many live streams as possible. This is completely off the cuff, unscripted, guys. All my live streams are unscripted, to tell you the truth. But, during the week, I do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday Tropics Talks for everybody out there and just, have a conversation with everybody. But, these have been all unscripted. I've noticed that we don't have a whole lot of continuing coverage down there. So I figured, why not, instead of doing videos, let's do some live updates because I know it's very interactive. We get a lot of people in here and we can talk and look at all the details together. NW, Antigua is doing very good, to tell you the truth. It's crazy too because look at the wind field here. Let's take a second and just look at the chart. And, again, for those of you watching, we have a lot of viewers in here, guys. We're 500 viewers deep. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is great stuff. Looking at the chart in the wind field here, Guadeloupe. Do I have anyone in Guadeloupe? Please, if you're in Guadeloupe, please stand up. No, I'm just kidding. No, Slim Shady reference. But Guadeloupe, it looks like you're still in the field of tropical storm conditions. Antigua, you guys have been saying that Antigua really isn't seeing a whole lot. But according to this wind field chart, Antigua, you're getting blasted by 58-plus mile-an-hour winds. I'm going to need some folks out there in Antigua to chime in and let me know if that's actually what we're seeing, because this wind field shows that you're in 58-plus mile-an-hour winds right now, sustained around the center of this storm, and I don't believe that's happening. So if we can get some folks in there to provide a little bit of verification. Sharon, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, again, I'm going to caveat that one more time to say that we still need to watch what's happening on the backside of this storm. There's a lot of residual moisture and a lot of residual energy out there. So we could definitely see some feeder banding rolling its way through that area. I know Dominica and Martinique are seeing it right now. Same thing with St. Vincent. You guys are in the feeder bands now. Has some good lightning going on out there as well, according to windy.com. Nope, nothing in... Yeah, see, it's very windy here, but not bad. Zoe, where are you? When you say how windy, are we talking dangerous winds, or are we talking, just like a brisk breeze, like a 20, 30 mile an hour wind? Because according to this, you guys are getting hit by full-fledged tropical storm conditions. No 50 mile an hour winds. Okay, very good. Nothing happening in Antigua. How is St. Martin? St. Martin's looking pretty good, Stevens. St. Martin's looking good. I'm in Antigua. Nothing is taking place in my area. Very good. Okay. No basic wind, no loose papers flying. Very good, beautifully aged. Thank you. I'm in Guadeloupe. Nothing so far. Dun breeze. Was raining a bit. Nothing serious. No winds right now. Excellent. Okay. So again, I swear we have a lot of people watching right now. I'm not taken away from the National Hurricane Center. I'm not saying at all that this is a bad product. I'm not saying that at all, but sometimes you can't fixate on the lines by themselves. You got to look at all the live data, which is why we're doing the live streams right now, because according to this, you guys are getting destroyed. And I'm very, very thankful to hear that that's not happening. Guadeloupe, yes, I agree. CED or CFD, I agree. You guys were lucky. It's windy, but then it stops and it drizzles for a few minutes. Then it's sunny. Then it goes back to being windy. It's all over the place. It's good breeze, but not dangerous. Antigua, okay. Tanisha, very good information. I'm on the south side of the island. The wind is pretty strong on this side. That makes sense because you're getting to the back side. You're getting into the inflow segment of the storm. So if you guys look at or actually, you know what? We'll go back to windy.com real quick. Windy.com is going to tell the whole story. We won't even need to do any drawing. We'll go back to wind. And there you have, whoa, why are we, that's not right. Let's go back to what's happening now. 5 p.m. So yeah, if you look where that inflow is, you're going to get a little bit of an increase in wind speeds. It's not going to be anything dangerous, but where the inflow and all that confluent wind flow is to the backside of the eye center, that's where your winds are going to pick up just a little bit. But you can see, again, a lot of our Hurricane 4 stuff is off to the east. So if we can continue to have this thing move to the north and very, very, very subtly to the north-northwest, almost due north at this point, then even Barbuda is going to dodge the worst of it. How about Anguilla? It's kind of calm here. Yeah, Anguilla's looking pretty good right now. The only area right now that I'm truly monitoring for a direct hit and the worst of this storm is Barbuda. So everybody else, I'm not trying to, not let you guys ask questions, but in terms of what I'm seeing in the live data, everybody else out there, you're doing okay. You're definitely doing okay. We still have a lot of leftover moisture working its way around the storm. It looks like there's a little bit of feeder banding trying to going on the western side. We have all this inflow to the south of it and all that leftover moisture that really dumped rain on Barbados earlier. It looks like you might see some leftover thunderstorm activity in Trinidad down there. There's some coastal thunderstorms over South America that may try to get pulled into your general direction. Same thing with Tobago down there, but all in all, guys, like we're doing okay. We have seen some flooding out there. I've seen some storm reports on social media to suggest that we have seen some areas hit hard by the rainfall. But in terms of what the predictions were looking like, especially earlier on in this storm's history, we're doing pretty decent right now. We're not doing too bad. Poor guys in Barbuda, they haven't rebuilt from the last one yet. That's why we're clinching right now. We're holding on by the skin of our teeth. Barbuda is the last one to get past this eye center. If we can get the eye past Barbuda, then we can get the worst, and I mean the most worst sustained impacts from this storm away from you guys. Breezy winds in Antigua, absolutely no storm conditions where I am. I'm on the northeast side of the island. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. You guys are not going to see just calm conditions, but you're definitely going to have elevated winds because of the pressure gradient around this storm. It is still slowly but surely deepening. I'm in Five Islands Village, Antigua. Not much wind, no rain at this time. Very good. Always Barbuda. Lord, save them this time. Giselle, we're going to be close. It's going to be a close call. It'll definitely be a close call. We're getting very, very close out there. Let me refresh the radar again so we can get an up-close personal view. Guadeloupe, Marie Gallant, Desirade, missed. There we go. And it's missing. Oh, we lost the radar again. It's definitely missing Antigua. It's definitely to your east, and it's going to be working its way away from you guys. We just need to watch if there is a subtle wobble towards Barbuda. If there is no wobble, we're basically in the clear. And then we just have to continue to monitor the banding back behind this. It was said we get in the weather by 8 p.m. tonight. Cassie, are you in Barbuda? Gunthorpe's is a little breezy right now, not getting strong winds. Middle East, okay. Ojsa, very good. Malachi, I have an update for Barbados. I can't hear thunder, no lightning, rain stopped and has calmed down for the bottom of the island. Yeah, no, Malachi, looking at radar imagery right now, Barbados is doing a lot better than you guys were earlier. I'll switch back to the radar, and we'll zoom out a little bit. And down here in Barbados, you can see a lot of that stuff has finally lifted to the north. So at least for the time being, you're getting a break. Right now, it looks like St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Martinique, and Dominica are starting to see the bands working their way through. We have a line here, we have a line here, a little bit of a weak line there, and another line right in through here. So there's your little tendrils of feeder band activity. It looks like there might be a weak little resemblance of one there, and here maybe getting fed into the south side of the storm. So, Barbados, I'm not ruling out the potential of no rain for the next 8 to 12 hours, but at least in the immediate horizon over the next hour or two, you guys are getting a break. We could maybe see a little bit of a flare-up to your south with these residual cells coming up from the south, but as of right now, there's nothing organized headed your way in Barbados, which is probably why the National Weather Service down there has discontinued a lot of your advisories and warnings. But here we go. Let's go ahead and let's play the radar out just a little bit more, get up close and personal with the eye of Tammy, and then pause it. This is current radar right now, so you guys are neck and neck with this storm in Antigua. Neck and neck with it. It is due east from your location right now. Spoil the surprise for the southeast because I think I know you probably do. From the French side of St. Martin, and the weather is super chill, sunny, and no rain at all. What's up with that? Anita, that's because the storm is actually cooperating with us. It's moving almost due north right now, and we're dodging a lot of bullets right now. The worst of it is up here, confined to that north and eastern quadrant. And so far, so good. We've seen some heavy rain on the backside of it, which was my main concern. But in terms of taking a direct landfall from an 85-mile-an-hour hurricane, the only one we have left is Barbuda. The only one we got to get in the clear. Because right now it's tracking up like this. And if it holds that line, if it continues to hold that course, we're barely going to dodge it. Barely going to dodge it in Barbuda. It's going to be like you guys are doing the Matrix with Hurricane Tammy. We're that close. Antigua, you're almost ready to put this thing behind you. Antigua and further to the west, looking at Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin. Who else do we have out there? St. Eustatius out there. Everybody to the west is looking okay. Anguilla, Gustavia, other island nations just to the south of Anguilla, the the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico were doing okay. When should we expect these outer bands in Antigua? Jesse, that's going to be determined. Let's do a little bit of forecasting while we can. So the main event of the feeder banding is well to the south of this storm. You can see it right in this kind of column I've drawn right here, moving in like so. So you guys still have maybe another 6 to 8 hours before all this banding can work its way up. And depending on how far to the west or how far to the north this storm tracks, a lot of this major consistent rainfall should also stay away from the majority of the islands out there as well. We have to just continue to watch. Nazaria, by what day will Hurricane Tammy settle down from the Leeward Islands? Malachi, it looks like by tomorrow afternoon we should be just about in the clear of the worst of it. We'll still probably see some daytime thunderstorms kick off. With all this leftover energy and leftover moisture, if we switch over to the satellite imagery again, we'll go water vapor this time. Water vapor will give us a better idea of all the moisture we have out there. So let me go towards the very tail end so we can get an idea of it. Let it buffer. All right, so if you guys look, here is the actual hurricane right there. That's the hurricane center. Well, not the center, but the core of it. That's where all of our main activity is going. All this leftover energy, even into parts of South America, that's trying to be pulled up with this, that could definitely instigate some very harsh thunderstorm activity, especially as you get closer and closer to maximum heating of the day tomorrow. We're starting to lose the sun out there, so any residual energy is going to come directly from that hurricane. So we can't rule out the possibility of seeing some overnight flooding, but again, we're getting into the better side of it. Ethan's Life, welcome back. Good to see you in here. I was just bragging about you, dude. You learned a little bit of extrapolating from watching the channel so much. It's awesome. St. Martin, please, information. Carlene, you guys are looking okay. I'm telling you right now, the only one I'm watching out for is Barbuda. We'll look beyond the eye after we can get it clear of your area, but that's kind of like my process, guys. We have a lot of viewers in here. We have 800 plus people watching right now, and I'm going to give you the breakdown. So right now, I'm only focusing on the center of circulation. I'm only focusing on the eye because that is what's going to provide you guys with those hurricane conditions, the gusts of 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. That's where your strongest activity is going to be. That's why I want to focus on that first, and then as we all get into the backside of the hurricane, then we can start talking individual forecasts in terms of the feeder bands, the individual thunderstorm cells that are working their way through. But right now, what I want to do is make sure we get all of you guys out there in the Antilles clear of the strongest weather, and that's right up here. We're almost there. We're almost there. It's not going to suddenly go west. It's not going to suddenly stop. We have only a few more hours until we can finally say bon voyage to the strongest area of influence with Tammy. So we're almost there. But all right, guys, we have so many viewers in here right now. We're going to switch gears real quick. So this is the 12Z icon. I've been watching the icon data closely. I've been watching all the data closely, and we have some very interesting trends here. Please don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to switch back to Tammy here momentarily. I just want to cover everybody else for the rest of the Caribbean, as well as the Southeast United States and Bermuda. So, icon right now has it moving to the north of you guys. It should be clear. The eye should be clear by overnight tonight. It looks like by about between 2 to 4 a.m., we'll finally have that eye up to the north, and we'll have the worst of the conditions away from you guys. Then we'll have to do battle with all that confluent flow on the backside. It's a little hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. Let me zoom in. No, I can't zoom in that far. Let me go back. I'll draw some arrows, but you guys can't see it. The reason why I always emphasize that the backside of the low is the worst is because look at all, if you can see on your screen, look at all these little miniature lines, all the streamlines funneling in to the center. What that's doing is all that moisture is getting pushed together and shooting up into thunderstorm activity. So that's why when we get on the backside of this, we got to change the game plan. We got to change the battle rhythm. I want to get the core out of the way first, get the worst of it to your north, and then we can talk flooding, we can talk high winds, we can talk feeder band activity, but for right now, we're trying to get that eye away from you guys. But here we go. So, icon, we track this forward. You see it start to slow down as it interacts that frontal system, tries to re-intensify a little bit before trying to make a run for Bermuda, but all of a sudden it moves due west and tries to make a run onto the Bahamas and towards southeastern Florida. So this hurricane ain't a threat, though, for St. Kitts and Nevis. New figure, not right now. Not right now. The only area we need to watch out for a direct landfall is Barbuda. Currently, with the way the storm is tracking, so Nazario and Barbados tomorrow, we will have sun and still have cloud cover and thunderstorms with rain. It's very possible. Once the sun comes up and we get some daytime heating going on over the water and over the island itself, we could see some pop-off thunderstorm activity. So this is round one. This is round one of what we're looking at. Very interesting phenomena, and at the same time, you can't discount. We have a tropical wave here and a tropical wave here headed right towards the Antilles, especially the Windward Islands. So there's a lot of things out there we still have to keep an eye on. Tammy looks to try to make a run for the Bahamas, Bermuda, and for Florida. Very weird. I didn't think we'd be talking Florida, but here we are. Let's go in rapid succession. Okay, we're going to move over to the Euro. So we have the Euro, and this is our 12Z European model. The Euro also brings Tammy to the north a little bit faster. It looks like by the time we get into, let's see, this is 6 Zulu, so this is 2 a.m. It's already to the north of you guys. That system's going to stall out almost immediately to the north of Puerto Rico and then get picked up by that system coming in and push west. And then you can also see at the same time, and if we get that tropical wave through the Caribbean, we have a big old broad low pressure system spinning up in the central Caribbean, moving past Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and then western Cuba, headed for the Yucatan Peninsula on this solution. We'll have to see if that develops, if it tries to develop. So we got to keep a close eye out. There's a lot of activity out there. This is the one that I'm really watching out for. It's the Canadian model. The Canadian model has been spot on with a few of our systems this year. And you track this through time. There goes Tammy to the north. Tammy goes and moves off, tries to make a run for Bermuda, and then washes out with that polar system coming down. But this is what I'm worried about for you guys down there in the Lesser Antilles. So I need all you guys watching just to be on the safe side so we can see what's upstream. You see there's another tropical wave moving right towards you. So for those of you who have already dealt with some flooding activity, it's not likely to be over the next 5 to 7 days. There goes our first tropical wave working through, and then there's a second one right behind it. And the Canadian model has been very insistent with trying to develop a new tropical cyclone to the south of Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. And then we have another upstream wave coming in towards the Lesser Antilles again. And as you track this to the very end of the loop, you can see we have 2 closed low centers. Now, of course, this is very far out. Very far out. I'm not projecting that we are going to have 2 more tropical storms or anything like that going through. Right now, I'm looking at just the rain. The fact that we have energy moving through It may try to develop, it may not. It's really going to depend on the environmental conditions for the Caribbean Sea. But right now we have 2 more waves coming at you guys out there in the Lesser Antilles, and it could make it into the Caribbean altogether. That one to the north looks to make a run for potentially Florida and the Bahamas if it holds together after moving through the Greater Antilles. And then you could see at the very tail end of the run on October 31st, Halloween for us here in the United States, we have another system out there over the Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands. If, big IF, guys, if this holds true. The only reason I'm blasting this out is because we have a lot of people viewing, and I want to make sure we have eyes on what could potentially be coming right after Tammy. Is St. Martin getting a direct hit? No, Ashley, it doesn't look like it right now. It definitely doesn't look like it right now. Nazario, are there any signs of Hurricane Tammy weakening, or will it get stronger? It'll definitely get stronger for a little while. Once it gets to the north of you guys, I do anticipate it should likely strengthen a little bit more. It has been slowly deepening. We've seen a couple millibar decreases as we've gone throughout the day today. But once that frontal line comes down, all that cool air, or I should say that cold air, comes off the United States, it's going to run headfirst into it, and it's going to try to wash out. It's going to try to obliterate it. So I don't know if the icon is going to hold true. I think we could see the storm wash out before it gets a chance to hit Bermuda or run for the Bahamas and Florida, but we'll have to keep an eye out because the icon's been doing very good with this storm all this time. And then finally, let's go to the... Oh, here we go. So we have the European ensemble probabilities here. So you see Tammy, and then watch as we get to day 5, day 6, day 7. We start to see a lot of good favorability that something wants to show itself in the Caribbean, moving through Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and then towards Cuba. And then we get another little round of increased probabilities over the southern Caribbean that something else may try to sneak up out of there. And let me show you guys the GFS ensembles. The GFS ensembles kind of tie everything into a nice bundle. GFS ensembles here for the Caribbean. This is 12 Zulu. You can see Tammy moving to the north. Here comes our next tropical wave. Tammy all of a sudden spreads west. Tammy all of a sudden all of our ensembles don't know at what point it could possibly go west, if it's going to go west, but almost every single one of our members at this point anticipate it's going to move west at a certain point. So anybody in the southeast watching this right now, we got to keep an eye on what happens because there are some ensemble members hitting Florida. There's ensemble members going through the Bahamas, going through the Carolinas, trying to make a run for the mid-Atlantic states, Bermuda. There's a lot of different areas that this thing could probably play around with, and honestly, it's anybody's best guess. The ensembles just show us the different agreeing possibilities. So that's why I'm opening up the AOR and mentioning that we're watching a whole large area right now. And then as you get through the ensembles at the 28th and 29th mark, that same thing the Canadian model is highlighting. Look at how our ensembles go crazy in the Caribbean. Something moving through the Cayman Islands, through Cuba, and then hitting Florida as well as we go through time. So lots to keep an eye out for. We'll go over to the European ensembles real quick, and then we'll transition back over to Tammy before we wrap up the live stream. We're at 46 minutes. I'm trying to blast through this. Here go our European ensembles for 12 Zulu. You see the same thing with the ensembles at 12Z for Tammy as well. A lot of them fan out, but the general consensus is eventually it might move west, either towards Bermuda or it's going to try to run for Florida. It's going to be weakening. But it's going to try to make a run. It's going to try to push. It's going to try to make one last ditch effort to do something. And then you can see the European ensembles are trying to form something up in the Caribbean Sea to the south of Jamaica as well. So all of our models are hinting at very similar things. Is Hurricane Tammy stronger than Brett or weak? No, Hurricane Tammy is definitely stronger than Brett. Brett was a mid-grade tropical storm, tried to make a run for hurricane strength, but Sharon, thanks once again for coming in. Sign out. We'll talk to you very soon, Sharon. So is it still moving towards Barbuda? It's not moving directly towards Barbuda. National Hurricane Center has the track to impact Barbuda, but right now it's not moving directly in that general direction. We'll go ahead and watch it here. Let me switch back here, and yeah, so they have a landfall for Barbuda. That's why I'm saying for that one island, we have to watch very closely. Because here comes the center. I just refreshed the radar. Hopefully you have some more data in on here. Here comes the center. Missing Dominica, missing Guadeloupe, missing Antigua. It's just about, no, we don't have any new data in just yet. And if it continues on this current course like this, it's going to barely graze Barbuda. That was the best line I could try to draw with the center of the system. It's going to be a close call out there. It's going to be a very, Very close call, guys. Like, Barbuda is the only one I need you guys gripping by the skin of your teeth, because that's the one we really need to watch out for a landfall right now. We're almost through the worst of the storm. Have a drink, smoke, spliff, and relax, Antigua. We may get some tropical storm conditions. Some guy, I agree that, yeah, it looks like the worst is to your, well, it's getting there. It's to your east right now, so we're almost on the backside of it. She already stated she was in Barbuda. What is that behind Tammy? We have tropical waves out there. There's two of them. Watching from St. Martin, should we worry about a direct hit? Ashley, no, not at this time. No, not at this time. Check Windy, Nazario. Let's go ahead and go over there. I have it pulled up. I've been going back and forth between the two. There we go. Okay, so Windy has updated. You guys are almost done in Antigua. So here's Antigua right here. I have the island in close-up view. Here's our eye wall, and then there's the eye of Hurricane Tammy moving this way. So it's going to be a very, very close call for our folks up there in Barbuda, guys. That's the big one. Everybody to the west of Antigua, you're looking okay right now. There's our center, and as you move further to the west, I'll go ahead and circle them with my green ink. Antigua is just about there. I'm going to put an X over you guys for now because it's still too close to say yay or nay. But out here for Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, and then further off to the northwest, everybody out here is looking pretty good. Guadeloupe is good. Just to the south with Marie Gallant, Desirade, you guys are looking okay down there. A lot of the stuff is still off to your east, all the main thunderstorm action. So, you know, like, when do you think we can voice chat today? Hopefully later this evening, David. I'm definitely trying to make time for it. I promise you that. And if you have questions or anything like that, definitely drop them in my Instagram, and I still want to definitely help you out, buddy. I really do. How can we see pictures for you? Or see pictures or send pictures? Behind God back, yet want to talk. Yeah, Wendy is showing some good info. I've been watching Google Maps, too. It's keeping up with the eye. That's good. That's what we need. But, yeah, guys, all the harshest stuff. I'll go ahead and delete the ink that I have on there right now. This right here, that there, what I'm drawing out, is going to be where your strongest extreme stuff is. Right in that general quadrant. That's our right front quadrant of the center of circulation right there. That is where all the really nasty stuff is. That's where all the 100-plus mile-an-hour winds, your strongest sustained winds out of the east and the south, a lot of your hardest heavy rainfall, like that's where a lot of the bad stuff is. And that's why I'm focusing so much on that center, because we're calling it very close. We're cutting it very close, I should say. Everybody down beyond this line here is looking very good right now, though. We're almost there. I almost want to bring Antigua into that line, guys. I almost want to, but it's still too close for me to give that kind of an assessment. I know that it's very, very unlikely, extremely, look at my face, it's very unlikely it's going to suddenly shoot due west, but I still don't want to call it till it's over. Please about St. Kitts. St. Kitts is, yes, definitely. St. Kitts is safe. St. Kitts is safe. Nazario, which hurricane model is the best to you? You know, Malachi, it's an excellent question. I've had differing results with all of our models, but I can definitely tell you right now that GFS has done the worst. The worst with a lot of our storms. The GFS did horrible with this one. The GFS didn't get on board with what all the other models were talking about until it was too close, until it was within 24 hours of moving into you guys. So the GFS, you know, it does well in certain instances, does great over North America, great with frontal systems and all that. Tropics, Then it's close. Then it gets very close. I know a lot of people praise the European model. The Euro is good. The Euro is definitely good. It definitely outplays the GFS in a lot of instances. But the Canadian model, I started my channel off the Canadian model, truthfully. I started my channel during Idalia that came out of the Caribbean and hit Florida, the panhandle of Florida. And the Canadian model was screaming in our faces that Idalia was coming, and all the other models were slow. It was the Canadian, then the Icon. The Euro was on and off, and then the Euro got on board, and the GFS was the last one of the party again. The GFS took forever to show anything. So GFS is definitely at the bottom of my list. I don't discredit it, and I like the ensembles more than the model itself because the ensembles have that human element. The actual operational model, though, doesn't do all that great. Yes, Justin, the Canadian model has definitely shown what it can do this hurricane season. I mean, right now, even Canadian model was the only one really sniffing out the that random highlighted feature in the Southern Caribbean, and now National Hurricane Center highlighted it for development, and it's looking pretty good. The Canadian was the one that spotted it. So, You guys can argue with me, but I know you're not going to. I'm just saying that metaphorically or hypothetically, but I'll stand by the Canadian. I definitely look at it and I consider it because it's done fairly well. Same thing, Scrooge, you're right. The UK Met has also done very well. I live east and the wind is high. Samantha, where are you at? In Antigua? Because don't forget, guys, we're going to see some higher winds because you're so close to that center. You have all those converging winds feeding into that eye wall like this. So you're going to see an increase in the winds even as it pulls to the north. It's the same thing as seeing like a tornado on the ground. You get to the backside and you get that rear inflow jet and it just kind of pulls everything in. Very similar concept here with the inflow on the backside of a hurricane. So don't be surprised if your wind does start blowing, but we're not going to see 90, 100 mile an hour winds at this point. Aurelia, I agree with you. Yeah, the Canadian model's been doing very well. It's been a very close contender to the likes of the UK and the Euro even. The Icon has had it longer than CMC, by the way. This one here, you mean, Ethan? Because if that's the case, then yeah, I agree. The Icon bullseyed this one very well. I've been watching the Icon and referring it to it first and foremost because it's done so well with this system. So what is happening in Antigua right now? This is it. This is what we have on the live Doppler radar for your area. Antigua doesn't really have much. I mean, it looks like maybe a little bit of shower activity, some very light rain in certain parts of the island, but, I mean, we're making a very close call right now. Here's the outer edge of the western eye wall, and it's still well offshore your area. Is St. Martin getting a direct hit? Little worried. Ashley, no, not right now. It definitely does not look like it. Definitely does not look like it. Right now, my only focus is going to be Barbuda because this system is going to come even closer to Barbuda than Antigua. Antigua is just about in the clear. We're almost there, getting away from the worst of this storm right in through here. Once we can get this eye wall, oh gosh, that was written horribly. Once we can get this eye wall plaza here, if you want to call it that, or this wall, yeah, the eye wall to the north, then we can start taking a sigh of relief and start focusing on what it is that's coming up behind the system. Yeah, how close are we? That's what I'm watching for. I saw that. It has it stalling out to the north of Puerto Rico, dipping south with that cold pocket and all that, and then moving off to the west. So there's a lot of things we got to watch even after Tammy gets up out of the islands. Think you are forgetting those feeder bands. They can cause plenty of damage. No, Ricky Jones, I'm definitely not. Definitely not. Right now, my main focus is getting those strongest winds out of everyone's neck of the woods. And then, like I was just saying, the battle rhythm can definitely change to monitoring on a case-by-case basis what those bands are doing. Because we definitely saw a lot of training going on over Barbados, and they have some bad flooding going on in certain parts of that island. So, no, I'm not discrediting what's going on with the feeder bands. Right now, though, in terms of what everyone else is talking about, what National Hurricane Center is worried about, 90, 100-mile-an-hour winds, I'm waiting to get that quadrant of the storm out of the way so we can dial back the intensity a little bit and then start focusing on those bands. Yes, Lucia, that's exactly what's happening right now. Dominica and Martinique, I believe, are definitely seeing the feeder bands. Same thing with St. Lucia, if I'm not mistaken. You guys are seeing a little bit of it as well. Yeah, there we go. So you have the feeder bands working their way through. The reason I'm not focusing too much on this right now is, again, because we have a hurricane on our hands. And I'll go ahead and draw it out for you guys as well. I'll use red ink. I want to get this area right here out of the picture, because this is where you have your 80 to 100-mile-an-hour winds, your strongest rainfall. This is where all the real damage is probably happening in this hurricane. Then we can go into caution mode and start talking about these different bands trying to work their way through and take it on a case-by-case basis, because you can see a lot of the more flooding waters, a lot of the more flooding style rainfall is still concentrated to the eastern side of the storm. So that's why I'm doing this on a case-by-case basis right now. I want to get the worst, the most dangerous part of the storm out of the way. I want to get the highest level of winds and the strongest core of the storm out of the picture, and then we can go and reevaluate the rest of the Lesser Antilles and start talking all this remnant stuff back behind it. So please, guys, if you are watching, we still have a lot of people in here. I'm not discrediting. I'm not focusing on just the eye. Right now, what I'm focusing on is where the worst of the storm is. And then we can assess and open up the AOR a little bit, the area of responsibility, and start examining what each island could possibly see with these feeder bands rotating in. Because I guarantee, even after we get off this live stream, this is going to change. The backside of this system has a lot of airflow meeting in the middle and meeting, converging, and allowing to thunderstorms to blow up. So this is going to change. The eye is not going to change. The eye is going to stay where it is. And that's why I'm focusing on what we can watch all the way through. The bands are going to develop, they're going to dissipate, they're going to develop, and they're going to dissipate. So that's why we can go on a case-by-case after we get the 100-mile-an-hour winds and whatnot out of the picture. Let's get this Cat 1, Cat 2 style hurricane up and out and then reevaluate. All right, we're coming up on the hour mark. I'm going to have to cut the live stream here in a moment. Barbuda. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of micro-scale forecasting. We have our center here. It is 5:30 in the afternoon. I'm still on board with what National Hurricane Center is kind of saying, that we could definitely see that eye passing through your area if it does move west. We can definitely see that eye moving around your area between 8 to 10 p.m. is going to be my prediction. So 8 to 10 p.m. Dark Earth, have a great rest of your evening. Hopefully we can talk again soon. I want to try to squeeze in one more live stream later on this evening to try to talk about what's happening with Barbuda and what's happening elsewhere out there. Whoops, I went to the wrong screen. 8 to 10 p.m., Barbuda. Watch out, okay? Just want to let you guys know. We're going to come very, very close. Very close. I want to use this radar again. I know that Windy's a little bit better, but this is a looping radar, so we can track what the movement is looking like and extrapolate it forward. So here we are. And it looks like the eye is caving in on itself again. So if we track it forward, it looks, if it keeps moving exactly in that straight line, if it keeps following that current trajectory, that exact same angle of attack, then Barbuda can miss the storm. If that's the one place I'm watching, the one place is Barbuda. Because Antigua, you're almost on the backside of it. Almost there. You're almost there. The eye looks like it's caving in again. We still have a very, very powerful eye wall in place, though. And what I'm concerned about is the fact that the eye wall is starting to spread west. I can't pause it, but if you look at that last radar scan, let's go back to Windy real quick. That right there, this is what I'm concerned about, guys. So that's why I want everybody in here, everybody else in here, I promise you guys, and this is from the bottom of my heart, not only as a professional, but as a human being. Everybody else out there, you can start to pump the brakes a little bit. Landfall and all that is probably going to be nil to no chance for everybody else besides Barbuda. Barbuda is the one that is going to get close. Even if it tracks just barely to your east, my main issue is watching this eyewall core wrap around to the western side. You can see where the strongest reflectivities are moving to the west side of the center, and that scares me. Because as it moves to the north, like so, you could possibly see on the eastern coastline of Barbuda that eyewall come through, and that's when all that bad weather is going to hit. So we need to watch out there, Barbuda with a capital B. You need to be paying attention to what that center does. You have to. Antigua, at this point, you guys are going to be putting that eye wall behind you, and then you can start focusing on the bands back beside it. We need the rain so that the government will leave the pipes open. Yes, there's definitely rain on the horizon. Nazari, what would you recommend to get prepared for any future hurricanes? That's tough, honestly. That's very tough. Because I don't know, I have never been down there, so I can't get an idea of what the infrastructure is like, what your buildings are like, what your support systems are like, what your flood preventative measures look like, what your sewage runoff systems look like. I can't really give you, the nitty-gritty. I can give you the generalization, sandbags, canned goods, non-perishables, batteries, candles, lanterns, bug spray, bug repellent, high boots, galoshes, things that'll help with floodwaters, anything you can cover up with and prevent any hazardous material from coming in contact with your skin as well. That's another thing too, is because even though the worst is to the north, if you guys have standing water or runoff water or leftover water, that stuff's going to fester and it's going to marinate with bugs, other pollutants. So you got to be careful even well after the storm not to get any skin-on-skin contact going on, or I should say skin contact with all those leftover things. But Oh, okay. Taking a breath. Carmen Pool. Yeah, we have a lot of people in here. We have a lot of people in here. This is a beautiful thing. I'm glad we have so many people watching. Your track looks good. It's going to miss Barbuda. Hopefully, Ivan, I agree. Hopefully, because it's still tracking up like this. It's going to be a very, very close call. Very close call. Close enough to where if you guys are in I was going to say Bermuda. If you guys are up there, you definitely need to stay sheltered in place. Barbuda only. Barbuda as of right now. Still take your necessary precautions everywhere else, guys. Everywhere from Antigua to the west and in south, into Guadeloupe, into Dominica, even parts of Martinique, St. Lucia, even in the Windward Islands with those bands going through. You definitely want to make sure that you stay cautious and stay cognizant of weather conditions, but the big thing is going to be this landfall that Barbuda is going to come very close to seeing. Vet Father, give him a thumbs up, break 100. That would be really nice, guys. The indigenous people gods are angry. The indigenous people gods are angry. I don't know about that. I hope not. I'm just happy that I get to watch the F1 sprint happening in 28 minutes in the U.S. Grand Prix tomorrow. There we go. But all right, guys, you have shark dolphins attacking boat. They're angry for the pollution you put in the water that hurts them. The babies learn to how to attack. Oh, gosh. Okay, what kind of rain can Antigua see? It's kind of hard to tell right now. Kind of hard to tell because we're still... here we go. We got another update on the radar. So, yeah, look at how that eyewall core is spreading to the west side of this. So, Barbuda, you have a very close call coming your way right now. We're definitely going to watch closely. Let's go ahead and look at some rainfall estimates real quick before I end the stream. I got to start cutting it off, guys. I have things to do still, and I will definitely be back later this evening once we get very close to seeing what's going to happen in Barbuda. But yeah, at this point in time, Antigua, you can definitely start taking a bit of a deep breath and relaxing just a little bit. We have a lot of activity on the backside of the storm, guys. Okay, I repeat, we have a lot of activity on the backside of this storm that we still need to monitor closely. But as of right now, you're looking like no direct landfall is anticipated for Antigua. Earlier, National Hurricane Center was forecasting a landfall for Guadeloupe. That didn't happen. We got lucky. Antigua, you're dodging the bullet as well. Watching this thing move and where it's tracking, it looks like it really does. It looks like it really wants to try to miss Barbuda to the east. But that's the one area you guys need to stay sheltered in place. Anguilla's looking pretty good as well. Anguilla is not in not in a huge area of concern. Nazaria, I don't know how to donate money, so I will like this live stream. That's okay, Malachi. Honestly, the like is that does enough for me. That helps. Just getting the word out there and watching. Our ensemble's out for that 20% disturbance. I'm not sure. If it's an invest area, it might be. But, folks, I know we have a lot of viewers right now. We're going to go ahead and cut the live stream, okay? We gotta reconvene later on for sure. I hope not too dangerous for this area. Hello from Trinidad. Cookie Monster, welcome in. But Catherine, to answer your question, Anguilla is looking okay up there right now with the storm moving on its current trajectory. We shouldn't have to worry about a landfall. We'll still have to watch for residual thunderstorm activity and overnight convection, especially on that back side of it. That's going to be the main area. Montserrat is looking okay too. It's definitely well off to your east as well. I believe Montserrat is right here. So you're going to have to also watch out for some sneaky thunderstorm activity overnight, but that center is well off to your northeast. So you guys are definitely dodging that as well. My area that I'm focusing on is Barbuda. If I have viewers in Barbuda, please stay inside. It's going to be too close. Even if it misses to your east, you still want to stay inside. It's going to be too close to take unnecessary risks, and I genuinely mean that. Thank you for this live, sir. God bless you. Sabrina, of course. What else? St. Martin? St. Martin is looking okay. Or St. Martin is looking okay. Greta, I'm looking at your comment. There are many occasions where doing nothing is what's best. How wide is Tammy? It looks bigger than most islands in the Caribbean. Why do they get so big? So Tammy is actually a very small storm in comparison. Tammy is actually a very compact hurricane, and that's actually exactly what's working in our favor right now. Very compact cyclone. So we're doing okay in terms of missing a lot of the big impacts. So... truthfully, I'm not going to go that official. I'm not an official source. I'm just working hard, looking at all the live data and broadcasting it to you guys. But the worst of the core is almost to the north. This is definitely the best update we've had on Hurricane Tammy. Carl, thank you very much. Hello from St. Kitts. Jermaine, welcome in. How's Antigua looking? Kenrick, Antigua's looking good. Antigua, you are just about on the backside of that circulation, so you're almost there to fully take your foot off the gas and throttle back a little bit. I don't see it suddenly moving west. I don't see it moving west. It's Barbuda we have to pay close attention to, and I will reconvene with you guys later on today, or I should say tonight, to reassess. Thank you again. You keep us informed about our countries and our family. Of course. That's what we're here for. Yes, I'm in Barbuda. I hope it would have missed us. Neil George, definitely, even if it right now, if it holds its current trajectory, it is going to miss. The problem is that eyewall is going to be so close, we don't want to risk it. We definitely do not want to risk it. You need to stay inside. You need to make sure that your preventative measures are in place and solid. You need to be concrete inside and stuck there, anchored down, okay? Because it's going to be too close. If this thing wobbles ever so slightly, I'm talking again like a chin hair on my face, that is going to be everything. Everybody else, though, the core of the storm is just about away from your area. From Antigua to the south of that area, the core, the eye wall, the worst that this hurricane has to offer is almost out of there. Then we can start assessing what the backside of it looks like and how much thunderstorm activity and feeder band wraparound rainfall we're going to get. Yes, Dominica is definitely going to get a lot of rain. They're definitely seeing it right now. We have feeder bands working through that area as we speak. Let me zoom out on the radar, and you can see there's where most of our feeder band activity is. From St. Lucia to the north. Guadeloupe, you're going to be next very soon. Same thing with Marie Gallant and La Desirade out there. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that. My tutor is not in the chat anymore, I don't think, but we'll see. And then down there further to the south, Trinidad, Tobago, St. Vincent and Grenadines, St. George's Island, Barbados. Everybody down there is on cruise control. You guys are looking okay. We need to get this area of the storm out of there, and then we can focus on everything that's on the backside. Because this is the evolving part. This is going to change. You're going to have new flare-ups, new lines, new storms, stronger storms blossoming in the blink of an eye. The core is what we need to get up out of there first, and then we can start talking. So a slight shift can move the hurricane a lot, right? A slight shift for Barbuda can make a big difference. I don't think we're going to see a dramatic shift to where all of a sudden Antigua is going to take a hit or anything like that, or anybody further to the west for that matter. It's Barbuda. They're going to be even if it holds its current course, if it holds that line, and then I really need to jump off the live stream, guys. But see this? Here is Barbuda. I'll outline it. Here is Barbuda right here. And then I'm going to use red for the eye wall. Look at this eye wall right here, guys. If it continues to track on its current course, you're still going to see impacts. And that's why I'm saying we have to clench and grit our teeth, because if this does wobble a little further to the west, you're going to take a direct hit. So yes, Lorianne, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Barbuda is the one we got to watch for that landfall. Hurricane Center's forecasting a landfall. It's going to be close. So it's going to be close, guys. But anyways, Lord willing, I can get back in touch with you again later this evening. I'm not too sure on a time just yet. Hopefully not too late. I want to see exactly what's happened with Barbuda, and hopefully we can jump on in here again with some good news. Thank you so much. I've been so worried. I'll be back later. Yes, everybody in here, we have 700 viewers. Make sure your notifications are turned on, because whether or not I put out another live tonight, there's more updates coming on a repetitive basis, especially with everything else we have watching upstream. We'll end the live on that note, as a matter of fact. Let me go back to the satellite image. Atlantic, we'll go wide view. Take a look at this. We have a lot of stuff out there still headed your way. Here's Tammy. Tammy's moving in. Tammy's right on top of you guys. We have this huge wave, and then we have another wave back behind it and more thunderstorm activity. So there's a lot we need to pay attention to. There's still a lot out there, so there's going to be repetitive updates coming at you guys, whether it be videos or live stream. The live streams are going to continue for another couple of days until we get back to our regularly scheduled programming at on Monday night. But tonight I want to jump on a live one more time with you guys, hopefully, and hopefully we can celebrate good news for Barbuda. If not, then I'm going to be right here with you guys for sure. Yeah, honestly, Vet Father, that's what I was saying in my earlier stream this morning. Honestly, you look at that tropical wave right here, and that makes the little Hurricane Tammy look like a baby's toy. Honestly, like, and that's the thing, like Barbados and our southern windward islands that saw all that training thunderstorm activity already bringing on the floodwaters, that's bad. So even if it doesn't organize, if that tropical wave can hold that thunderstorm activity and move in, that's bad. So that's why I want to make sure everybody in the Caribbean, everybody is updated, because we can see some really weird stuff happen over the next several days. I got you, Barbuda. Tammy gonna miss y'all. Let's hope so, Ivan. I'm right there with you, dude. I'm right there with you. We've missed everybody else. Everybody else has dodged the center. So let's finish up on a high note, Lord willing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and kick off, or we're going to end the live stream. Please make sure your notifications are turned on, and thank you very much for all the viewers in here right now. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to keep you guys updated. We have a lot of other sources out there that are also doing the same thing. So we're all here for you. We're all in this together. Even though I'm here in Florida, I know a lot of other folks on my channel are elsewhere in the United States, elsewhere in the Caribbean and Bermuda. We're all in this together, though, at the end of the day. That's what I'm focusing about on this channel, is the community. And that's why I love interacting with everybody. That's why I love live streams. That's why I started my Tropics Talk. That's why I engage with you guys in the comments on Instagram. I love talking to everybody. It's the community. It's how we help each other out. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. I'm here with you guys as we ride this out and whatever else is next to come. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you very soon. I can guarantee that. This is Weather Center Nazario signing out.